The city of Charlottesville has declared a state of emergency in relation to the situation here you can see at Emancipation Park. This happened really just about 10 minutes ago, less than that. The Charlottesville City Mayor Maurice Jones and the county executive Doug Walker, they have simultaneously issued a declaration of a local emergency, and this is for two jurisdictions because it's a fairly large protest. In fact, we saw some protests break out last night. The planned protest was for today. Officials didn't know exactly how many people were going to arrive. They had an estimate anywhere. It was a wide range between 2,000 and 6,000. Obviously, right now it's still developing, so we certainly don't know how many people are there. But this joint declaration does allow local officials to request additional resources, and that is an ongoing situation here in the community. I want to bring in my co-host Leland Vittert as we look at these live pictures. Leland, and a lot of authorities say it can be sort of confusing for folks who are there because you do see men and women who are openly carrying weapons. A lot of them are in what looks like army fatigues at this rally, and this is a difficult situation for authorities. They said last night that they weren't necessarily incredibly prepared for the rally that happened last night because it was planned for today. So you can see here we're looking at some live pictures, and I want to bring you in because this is something that unfortunately you would see here, people using pepper spray against each other. I mean, this is a fairly violent situation that authorities don't really have a good grab on, and then we see the city here declaring a local emergency.
Well, local emergency, and now is the time that the state may get involved, and you could certainly see the National Guard come in. That was put on standby last night. Big picture here, the city of Charlottesville made a decision to remove a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee from what is called Emancipation Park, and a group of white nationalists decided they wanted to come in and protest the removal of that statue. There was a lawsuit about whether they could or could not protest. They won that lawsuit, and that's when we saw the skirmishes break out last night with the chants of White Lives Matter, and now we see that same violence today. And Liz, as you point out, when you have people openly carrying weapons, and you're legally allowed to do that in the state of Virginia, it is combustible beyond words, and the police who are there in their riot gear have a very difficult time discerning who is going to be on their side, if you will, and who they very well may want to cause harm. These things get extraordinarily combustible, extraordinarily quickly, and the big question is, what are the rules of engagement for these police officers? What have they been told? And we've seen in riots in the past, whether it be in Baltimore or in Ferguson, that if things are allowed to get out of control, it takes an incredible amount of force to put the genie back in the bottle. We saw in Charlotte last year as well combustible situations like this that ended up with looting. Think about the city of Charlottesville, one of the more picturesque towns in America, home of the University of Virginia there. So you've got the issue of school kids from the University of Virginia there. Typically, they have not come back to school yet, but still now you have everybody urging people to stay away from the city of Charlottesville, as this has now come to a flashpoint there, right around where there was once a statue of General Lee.